empty town. We're searching for the lost and found, but you don't care, you're unaware. Keep moving like the scars aren't even there. It's in the air like a blazing flare. Don't stare, cause the flames will burn us. I thought you were the one for me. That's why I gave you everything. Held you close by the stormy seas. Oh, you meant the world to me. I used to kiss your head when you cried for me. Hold your hand while the pain was over. Keep you warm by the roaring sea. You meant the world to me. My darling dear, you're never here. When I'm in pain, you hide and disappear. Like shadows in the atmosphere, charting the stratosphere. Yeah. I prayed for you and kept you near, in hopes you'd chase away my fears. I'm on my own, you made it so, and now I'm chasing nightmares too. I used to run with you through the great big leaves, laugh at you when you laugh at me. Hope for us because I believe the home was just you and me. I thought you were the one for me. That's why I gave you everything. Held you close by the stormy seas. Oh, you meant the world to me. Oh, I'm gonna do.
Hello, hello everyone. How is it going? How's it going? How's your Friday going? It's an awesome Friday. Finally, the end of the week. Can't complain. It's all chilling. For 2 days, it's gonna be pretty chill. I have already some planned work for the next 2 days. Saturday, I'm gonna chill a little bit. But yeah, how is everybody's Friday going to so far? How's everybody's Friday go? Welcome to the stream. Welcome to the stream, everybody. Thank you for joining. Feel free to drop a hi in the chat. Yeah. I hope I'm not blasting your ears. Let me just see that I have nothing stupid open. Okay. Hello. So today, what are we doing? So today, what we're doing is that we're solving. We'll try to learn TypeScript, and since JavaScript is kind of like TypeScript is basically a superset of JavaScript, so I'm hoping so that we actually learn JavaScript also along the way of how things go on. I've been working with TypeScript and JavaScript for quite some time, but honestly, I probably don't understand TypeScript and JavaScript that well, and I think people who have been working a little bit more than me on TypeScript and JavaScript still don't know TypeScript and JavaScript or understand TypeScript and JavaScript, right? That is what we'll try to tackle this monster today. We'll try to deep dive into how the type definitions are. I think the very first question I have in my mind is that what is the difference between type and interface? I understand that, okay, interface is kind of like an abstract shape that you can give a particular type, a particular class. Then what exactly is a type and when to use what? I think that's the very first question I have in my mind. Okay. Other than that, yeah, how do you define a type? How do you define this thing? And for this, one of the most and functional programming together. So functional programming is, if anybody is not aware, functional programming is a different paradigm of solving a problem or writing a piece of code. It also solves like any other code, like any other program. It basically given an input, gives you an output. But functional programming is a different way of looking at the problem and a different paradigm of solving it, I would say. How you have procedural. So I think C is called a procedural programming language because you would just write procedures. I think it comes from before that. I don't remember. Before C, I think B was there, which is like a predecessor of C, and then before that something, whatever. But generally you would have procedures, and if I remember correctly, a lot of procedural language has start and end. C doesn't. It has proper function. So, but you don't have to define and bind functions to any objects or things like that. Another way of looking at a programming is object-oriented programming, where you have objects, so entire real-world objects associated with data, which is a state, associated with functionalities, which is functions or methods associated with them. That's basically it, and they operate on the objects itself to, to mutate the state of the object, or to, mostly to mutate the state of the object. And then there's also functional programming, which is a completely different paradigm. Right. So actually, let's start with, I hope I have nothing open. Yeah, okay. So let's start with a very simple. So I'm sharing my screen right now, and I hope that actually shares, because sometimes, okay, cool. I see it's sharing. What is functional program? Wow. Holy shit. Okay. Sorry to flashbang you. I'm sorry to flashbang you, but okay, thank you. I'm really sorry to flashbang you. I got flashbang myself too, so fair. Anyways, okay. So functional programming is a programming paradigm. Okay, so let's zoom in a little bit. Functional programming is a programming paradigm where applications are built by composing functions, which avoids a changing state and mutable data. It treats functions as first-class citizens, meaning they can be passed as argument, returned from other functions, and assigned to variables. This approach leads to a more cleaner, more predictable, and more modular code by emphasizing immutability and side effect free, blah blah blah, pure functions. So in functional programming paradigm, the entire concept is that functions are everything. All right. So if you're working with Java, they came up with lambdas. So if you're working with JavaScript, you already know that you can pass around functions as if it was nothing but data, or as if it was nothing but an object, right? So you can pass them around. That basically means that functions are also a type, right? So functions are also a type which can be passed around in different ways. Now, the problem here is that the second thing is that it's pure functions. What's a pure function meaning? So in functional programming, generally you consider the function as a black box. So fn, right? And you give it an input. So let's just consider this particular function has a single input x, okay? And there goes an output, and it outputs y. So basically, if I write it down in here, f of x equal to y. So this is very predictable. Every time I input the value of x to this particular function, I'm always going to get back y, no matter the condition of the environment, no matter the condition of the context, no matter the condition of anything. It's a pure function, which means that given a particular input, it always returns you back with that with the output, so it's predictable. And second thing is, it's not going to mutate any other thing. So maybe there's a z variable, maybe you're within a environment, you'll always be within an environment. It's never going to change the environment. It's never going to do any side effects to that. Okay, which also comes to a point that how do you even write anything substantial or useful in functional programming? Because functional programming or paradigm is more about lambda calculuses, which is more mathematical expressions of how it is. And then there's, I think, also Lisp, which is list s expression, something like that. I'm no expert on functional programming. I'm no expert on software engineering at all, so I may use the terms a little bit wrong, so please do Google before you do this thing. And like, jokes apart, this particular domain is something I have never explored a lot on. Okay, so I have used lambdas with Java, I have used lambdas with C# currently, I have used a lot of JavaScript, but functional programming paradigm, the mental model, I have not quite got habituated with it. So maybe along the way I get more habituated for this. Okay. Meanwhile, I just want to ask a question. If anybody is watching, and can put on the chat that how is my voice doing? Is it clear? Is it crisp? How is the music? I hope it's not too loud for you. I realized in the last stream the music is a little bit loud, so I put it down a little notch. So I hope that it's not that loud anymore. I do not want to give any problems to anybody's ears. So yeah, if anybody is there right now, if you can put something on the chat, that would be really, really helpful. Okay, coming back. So how do you even do something useful with this particular paradigm of programming? Because if you are doing something like console log something, this right here is a side effect. Why? Because in your environment, you have the console where it's going to write something. Audio is good. Okay, thanks. So it says console.log something. So it basically logs something on the screen, right? So you have to print something on the screen. So this is where you are modifying or mutating the state of your environment, because your buffers around you or your pipes around you to actually flush out things would have to change its state to showcase and display those things in your environment, right, to the screen. This is where it says that, okay, it's an impure function then, because I just said like this particular function, it takes x, it returns back y, but it also logs y in the console. So this kind of becomes an impure function, right? And that is kind of the problem statement here. So generally, what I've heard from a lot of people who program in functional programming is that there are two parts to functional programming. One, a complete part of a program is basically pure, so the functions are pure functions, and the other part of the program is impure functions, where you are basically doing mutations to your environment, to your context, to whatever, right? So there's a complete, holy shit. Okay, yeah, I hope all good. Okay, so yeah, that is basically how you do any kind of functional programming, and that's basically how you solve a real life problem. Because with pure functional programming, it kind of becomes difficult, or is not kind of possible to solve any real life problem, because you cannot interact with your environment. If you cannot interact with your environment, you cannot take any user input, you cannot do any user output. What is the entire point of your functional program, right? So functional programming, another thing about functional programming is immutability. Your data is immutable, right? Your data is immutable. So what happens is that whenever you are trying to create something new out of an input, it becomes kind of difficult to say that, okay, like I'm not going to change the state of the current object, I'm going to create a new one. Okay, so let's say x was an object, x is an object, and I want to change some internal state of it, right? Objects can have state. So here, y is the output, which is another object, but with a change in state. So I'm not going to mutate the state of the object, but I'm going to create a new object altogether. So every time, so let's say you have a, so if anybody here watching is from a more LLD world, I mean object-oriented world, so let's say there was a person class. So right, let's say there was a person class, and so let's write proper this thing. So you have self self dot age equals whatever 20. Celebrate birthday. So this right here, what would happen is, right, so me dot self celebrate birthday. So if I take the ID of me here, it has to be the same. This has to be the same, right? But if I wanted a true functional programming thing, so this is functional programming one. So turn new person p dot age equals self age plus 1 return p, and here you have to return back, like the return type is person progress. So if you do that now, me low, me elder me, so in here it has to create a new object. It has to create a new object. So we cannot change the state of an existing object. We always have to create a new object. Okay, so this is what the entire concept of functional programming is, which also means that on paper it sounds good, but then you would be creating a lot of memory, because every time you change the state of our existing object, you have to create a new object. So that kind of becomes the entire bottleneck of functional programming. It has its benefits, it has its benefits, it has its own problems, right? JavaScript, as far as I know, is more of an amalgamation of object-oriented programming and functional programming. So there are certain things missing which a very true functional programming would have. So OCaml match. Yes. So I think a better option here is Haskell pattern matching. So Haskell is like one of the oldest and greatest pattern matching thing. Sorry, oldest and greatest functional programming thing. Okay, I'm sorry. Can you? Okay. So in here, if you see pattern matching, right? So you're doing, even, in fact, if I am not wrong, even Rust does pattern matching, right? Even Rust does pattern matching. So if you can just say sign x, and then you give a pipe, so you say that, okay, x is greater than 0, it is 1, x is equal to 0. So this is more of a signum function. Oh, it says sign, yeah. So this is more of a signum function, right? So this here, signum, right? It's called signum, right? Yeah, it's called signum. So it's called signum function, and yeah. So as you can see here, there's basically the signum function here. Anyways, the entire concept here is that, okay, so I can do pattern matching in here. So as an example here, take is basically you're trying to take away from a certain list of arrays or something. So here you're destructuring this input into x and xs, and then you can say, oh, you return x and you do something. I mean, I don't know how to read Haskell. I have seen some here and there streams about how Haskell works, but yeah, again, basically this is what it is. Okay, so there's also list x expression. Maybe you want to look into that. So what is an s expression? Okay, this is something. And then people tell me, bro, you're 34. Can you grow up? No. Why? Anyways, kidding. So again, X expression and all of that, I'm not quite good with it because obviously I've never done anything with it. So yeah, maybe someday I'll learn about these things. So anyways, maybe this is one of the things to refer. Haskell pattern matching. So this may be one thing that you can refer to. Okay. Who is texting me right now? Why are you texting me right now? Oh. So, yeah, that is basically my entire knowledge about function programming, and I'm done. I don't know any more function programming, honestly. Higher order functions and all that, which means that, higher order function basically means that you can return a function from itself, or you can accept a function as an argument to it. So that's basically it. Okay. Yeah. Any questions there so far about that? With my limited knowledge of function programming, with my limited knowledge of lambda calculus as functional programming, yeah, please ask questions and I'll try my best to answer. So as you can see here, it's a framework developed in the 1930s. Just imagine, in the 1930s. So almost 100 years back. And after 100 years, we have built on top of these mathematics a giant predictable AI model. Look at that. It's actually also marketing for AI. So we have built giant models, which with the help, the bare bone, if you strip away all this bullshit, it's basically maths. Giant maths with huge data sets, which can predict, after a lot of learning, it can predict what is the next best thing that fits your prompt. And prompt, I feel like, is something which you're thinking. So it can kind of imitate what is the next thought which will come to you. If you start typing in a code editor and it gives you auto completion, it kind of is the same thing, because looking at what statement you wrote and what is the name of the function you wrote, it kind of already figures out in your thought what is the next predictable line that you're going to write, or the next predictable thought that's going to come. So that's quite fascinating, right? Anyways, yeah, so you have lambda calculus and all of that, which basically is another. So as you can see here, this functional programming syntax is also a little bit weird stuff, because it's mostly if I'm not wrong, this is reverse Polish notation, right? If I'm not wrong, there are other stuffs here. I'm not the guy to answer any of these, or yeah. So I'm not gonna go into those. But yeah, till now, any questions, anything, and then we are gonna quickly dive into what are the exercise we are gonna do. Maybe for 1 hour we'll try to do something. But yeah. Cool. Okay. So, what are we doing today? If you're not aware of this language, it's I don't think so. It's a relatively new language. I may be completely wrong in saying a relatively new language. OCaml history. Ha. The pivotal moment for OCaml arrived. Yeah, I don't know which one, but yeah, Jane Street apparently uses OCaml a lot. Another functional programming language which runs on top of JVM is Clojure. If you want to see, I think her name is Janet Carr. Yes. So Janet Carr is somebody who programs a lot in Clojure. Oh my god. Oh my god. Sorry. Thank you. Okay. So yeah, I'm not gonna give this link, but you can actually search for Janet Carr in Twitch. She does. She's a Clojure developer, and she does a lot of programming in Clojure, and it's another functional language built on top of JVM, which the target platform is a JVM. So yeah, it's pretty good. It's pretty good, I would say. Lots of programming language, full language toolbox thanks to Golang, Clojure, Python, HTML, CSS, JavaScript, Node.js. I've been known to store data in SQL when I'm desperate. And MongoDB when I'm desperate. I don't know what is up with MongoDB and everybody just hating it. Anyways, yeah, so you can find her on Twitch. She's also a really good developer and a really experienced developer who, I don't know if she's from Jane Street or not, but I have seen her a lot of do this stuff. But yeah, Jane Street is somebody who heavily is invested in OCaml, is what I heard. Okay, is what I heard. Anyways, so this particular functional programming language is coming from ML and not machine learning. ML family of languages, which is mostly I think everything there is more functional based. And I forgot the name, but in Twitch there's another guy from Portugal, I think, or Brazil, I don't quite remember, who also does functional programming, and he's developing a new functional programming there. So maybe you wanna, go ahead and follow them. But anyways, what are we doing today? So OCaml, we are not going to do OCaml today. We are not going to learn OCaml. But what we are doing today is that there was a problem which apparently comes from the times of Prolog, which doesn't even exist anymore. So if you look at Prolog, if I'm not wrong, it's another machine is used for Prolog is a declarative. Look at that. Yeah, man, I don't want AI stuff. Okay, so from Prolog, I think it's a very old one. From Prolog came Lisp, I think, yeah, and you have 99 problems in Lisp, which again doesn't open up. But then from there, this section is inspired by, my bad, this section is inspired by 99 problems, which in turn was based on Prolog problems list by Werner Het. For each of these problems, some simple tests are shown. They may also serve to make the question clearer if needed. To work on these problems, we first install blah blah, right? So we're going to try and do this, and there are levels that you can select. I'm not going to do anything. I'm just going to go one by one, and we'll try and start with, we'll basically start with beginner, right? And there's solution also that you can go and see. Again, this solution is with OCaml, and as you can see here, this is something that you just saw with Haskell, so it is pattern matching, but we don't have that in JavaScript, pattern matching. So we have to do some non-functional things within the functional programming thing, right? So we have to kind of cheat a little bit, I feel, because I'm not that good of a developer to actually figure out how to do that without it. Maybe through the process I will, through the journey I will, but not most likely today. Okay, so this is what the thing is, and then I'm gonna use TypeScript lang.org, I think. Yeah, so TypeScript, I'm gonna do that. Handbook. Okay, so I'm going to use TypeScript for this because it just gives that type information a lot more better of how we're going to do. So OCaml, as I remember, is also another type safe language, strongly typed language. JavaScript is not, but then TypeScript gives you that handle where you're more type safe, right? So that is kind of good, and we're going to use that. Okay, so that is basically the entire point of the stream today, and me yapping for 20 minutes and probably more than 20 minutes. Okay, so Oh, 32 minutes. Look at that. We have started 32 minutes back. I haven't written a single piece of code. I've been yapping all along. I am an LLM. Kind of. Because I'm yapping. Okay, cool, cool. So let's set up our environment. And yeah, if you have any questions, GitHub. Real there. So let me zoom this in a little bit. So the question is, how do we call this project? So 99 problems. Yes, I'll just call this. Okay. But now the question is, how do we actually start this project, right? So I'm just gonna say init. That doesn't work. Okay. Package JSON. So here I can simply say 99 problems solved using TypeScript. This is this. Not gonna have any scripts, I think, for now. Keywords, author is free of day. So it's gonna be MIT, and that is pretty much okay. Okay, I think okay, cool. Next, what? Let's add TypeScript to it. Oh wow! Of course, we have to do this. Without doing this, doesn't work like that. What the fuck is this? What the fuck am I looking at? Yeah, so if I run version, what do you give me? Sure, whatever. Npm install save dev. I think we have to give it TypeScript. Is that how you do it? No. I think you have to do it this way. Cool. So now, if I just go inside node modules, what the fuck is this thing? Node modules, under bin, then I should have DSC. So I have DSC and init. That is pretty much. What the fuck is this? Silo terminal. Okay. So, how do you attach? Anyways. Cool. So, let's actually start the problem, right? Just a sec. Okay. So now, basically, one of the things I have to look for is that okay. Again, this guy is pinging me for some reason. Okay. Okay. So now, what do we want to do here is that we simply want to create. If you look here, right? So what is last? The very first problem is tail of a list. Write a function last, which would accept. So this is generics as far as I remember in OCaml. This is generics. So it can be any kind of list, and it would return you back with the last element of a list. And then you can say, last is this, like this is basically the function call, and that would give you back a string option of some d, or if it's an empty list that you provided, it would give you back a option none. Okay, so this is what this entire thing is about, right? And I'm just trying to think of how. So we kind of need some kind of structure which is a union type, right? Which can be some or not. Now the question is TypeScript optional. Option type. Do you have anything something like that? Guide to using the option type. Okay. So how do you oh my god. Option. Not that. Not that. Okay. There is no option. Partial. Construct a type with all properties set to option. I'm not talking about properties to be optional with question marks and shit like that. Oh, I love this beat. Slight. Kraken. Okay. Nice. So you have pick. Wait, what is pick? Construct a type by picking a set of. You don't have an option. Optional. You don't have it, or you cannot fucking search it. Union types, interfaces, blah blah blah. So again, it's interfaces. It doesn't quite tell me exactly what is the difference between a type. What am I looking at? What am I looking at here? TypeScriptlang.org. Hold on. Yeah, this is TypeScript. TypeScript is JavaScript with syntax for types. Sorry, just a second. Yeah. And if I go here, tutorials with ASP.NET Core. What? Okay.
and snow, holding out your hand for me to go. Wasn't scared to see you, always knew it in my bones that something here was bound to take me home. You said you don't know me well, but I'm your angel in white. I'll be close if you come, I'll be just behind you. You're not on the list, but I can get you inside. Use your mind, listen to my voices, I'll guide you. You give yourself over, yeah, you don't wanna fight. If you do, I'm gonna bid you a hard cold goodnight. Baby, hang on to your ticket, you're doing alright. And if you don't trust it, hold it up to the light. Connecting the dots, black spots in my vision. I'll be blaming it on divine intuition. I'll be praying for a divine intervention or anything else that gets my attention. And I've fallen for you, you're a fine invention. The sort of poison to me, but I keep forgetting. And now I'm halfway in and I'm half alive. You take my face and you hold it up to the light. Take me home. If not you, not here, then I don't know. As above is ever so below. Something here was bound to take me home. Wanna be delivered to the rod.
Hmm. I don't want to do that. I feel, I feel one of the good things you can do here is, no, Claude. Hmm. I just need a beta setup to test my functions. I want to create the functions in a directory called, yeah, we can call it tests. Site, plan for it, and setup. So let's see if Claude can actually set up VTest. I'm gonna use Claude to do that. Feels like a thing it can do. Okay, let's see. Yes, I use AI to code, and there is no problem in that. So, how's it going? How is it going, chat? Create, what do you want to do? PNPM add VTest UI. I do not need UI. I just have CLI functions. Why I need a VTest UI for? Thank you. So after it creates a configuration, okay, so this is a file that is trying to create. We just define configure in here, okay, so I'm guessing you'll try to find the test inside that. Cool. Next what? Create test directory. Make dir, okay. Okay. Add test scripts to package.json. Okay, that is fine also, I suppose. Create a sample test file to verify setup. Okay. Test watch test run. ठीक है कर ले. I can remove shit. Okay. File is common JS module because JSON doesn't have any field type. Okay, we'll change that. We'll change that. Expect 1 plus 1 to be true. So let's actually keep this because I don't know how vtest work. Oh, you write the test in a very same manner as of how you would write jest. So I think okay. So what's the problem in here? What you're crying about? VTest is not under root directory. Root directory is expected to contain all source files. The file is in the program because match with. Okay.
the right, fading into slowly. Were those gonna lift me up this time? You were the only one who got me tripping up inside. All the words you told me, am I reading something different from your eyes? See you for a moment, even hope that I can feel you. See you, all that I wanted was to tell you that I need you. See you for a moment, even hope that I can feel you. See you, all that I wanted was to tell you that I need you. Now I'm finally right here with you. Now I'm finally right here with you. Your voice is getting nearer, heart is pumping, thoughts are running wild. We got a good thing going, why we gotta feel amplified. Staying to the morning, countless hours spending by your side. You look at me, I'm soaring, seeing all the truth behind your eyes. See you for a moment, even hope that I can feel you. See you, all that I wanted was to tell you that I need you. See you for a moment, even hope that I can feel you. See you, all that I wanted was to tell you that I need you. Now I'm finally right here with you. Now I'm finally right here with you. Your voice is getting nearer, heart is pumping, thoughts are running wild. We got a good thing going, why we gotta feel amplified. Staying to the morning, countless hours spending by your side. You look at me, I'm soaring, seeing all the truth behind your eyes. thing I did was take out the trash. Now it's much harder